get the fuck out. Bye. I need to go bang everybody and be the only person in the house.
With my Wayfair furniture.
It's time to take A Therapeutic Dose, a prescription-strength reality TV podcast that explores the intersection of reality TV and therapy. Possible side effects may include entertainment, strong emotional reactions, and/or laughter. Here are your hosts, Ramona Ramirez and Margie McGee.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Therapeutic Dose, where we meet at the intersection of reality TV and therapy. I am Margie McGee, and with me, as always, is my dear friend and co-host.
Hello, I am Ramona Ramirez Higgins. Hi. Hi, friend. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you, too.
Feels like it's been too long, and it's only been I guess we haven't seen each other in 2 weeks because, today is 2 weeks. Yeah, so because of Thanksgiving last week, and it's so strange every time we take a little bit of time off. It just feels like I've never done this before. I don't know. It's weird.
I will say I didn't spend this Thanksgiving with my family, but the dynamics, the conversations with someone, whether Meredith is an addict or not, her behavior is very similar to addicts in denial in my family. And it reminded me of Thanksgiving. I was like, oh, I've seen these conversations and these big dramatic gestures and all this crap. Fascinating.
Yeah, that was some stuff, man. That was some stuff. And I was so glad that Whitney said what she said in her confessional.
About I wish she knew why I cared about her.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's deep. It is deep. But it's also
the
projecting.
Frustration. Totally. But I feel like that's the piece that made it feel like family. Because it's like, I'm not just yelling at you to yell at you. I'm yelling at you because I'm afraid you're going to die. I'm not just doing this to try to embarrass you or call you a name on TV. Something's fucked up. Mary, I think at one point said, Meredith, it almost seems like she wasn't there. The way she's not remembering what happened. And I was like, ooh, that's so chilling.
It's really chilling. And everyone, I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving, or
yes,
just depending, on the spectrum of survived it to that was amazing. I hope it was more towards it was amazing. Even if it was just amazing being in pajamas for 4 days and watching shitty TV, you know? So this is The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Season 6, Episode 12, First Amendment Rights and Wrongs. I liked it. I liked that title. And we open with Bronwyn and Todd. Bronwyn is in one of her trademark inflatable costumes, picking up Todd at the airport. When she asks him how his flight was, he makes a point of, in painstaking detail, I watched some stuff I downloaded. I read a book and I slept.
It's I did not look at pictures of other women. It's thank you.
Here is a signed affidavit from one of the flight attendants who said that she can attest that I said these things. It's been notarized.
Everything I watched had been pre-downloaded.
Exactly.
PG-13. That's a man. That's a busted man right there.
Yeah. And maybe this is his way of trying.
I think so. And
repair.
Open to it. She's like, look, I choose him. I choose to be married to him every day. And just because we have problems doesn't mean this marriage is a failure. And I was like, yeah, I think that's right.
I really liked it. I liked it a lot. I love that she said that. Overcoming issues, I think, can even strengthen a marriage. I mean, don't we all have issues in any of our relationships?
I don't know any long-term relationships or marriages that have had a smooth path from start to finish.
Yeah.
I think about my aunt and uncle who met their first day of college and made it till death. But there were bumps along the way. There was addiction and there was loss of a huge source of income and issues with kids and all sorts of stuff. They went through it, but they went through it,
Yeah.
Yeah, they made the same commitment that Bronwyn and Todd seem to be making to each other. We are going to fuck up because we are human beings who are in this for the long haul. So until someone hits a hard break point, we'll just keep trying.
Yeah.
And Todd, to his credit, this is the hardest I've seen him try on camera yet. This is a night and day from the sad ice cream shop.
Oh, yeah.
Where he actually had a conversation with his wife. So that's something.
Yeah. the spectrum of issues in a marriage matters for sure, but as long as people talk about it and are honest, you'll know if you should stay or go. So she asks him how the flight was, and then he asks her how she is, and she kind of infantilizes herself by saying, "I'm kind of in trouble," and tells him that Whitney is pissed at her because Whitney thinks that Bronwyn threw her under the bus with Meredith by telling her what Whitney had told them when Whitney downloaded Bronwyn what happened on the flight back from the yacht. And Todd just kind of, again, tries to CEO this thing where I don't really know if you can. I don't think you can really C-suite a Housewives cast. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to work. And he says that they need to have a kumbaya moment and apologize to each other because you probably all have shit on each other. Well, yeah, of course they do, but it's not that easy. But I applaud him for trying, I guess. And she tells him that as a way to commemorate her becoming an American citizen, she wants to throw a Spill the Boston Tea party. And he chuckled at this, in earnest, and he was charmed by it. And she thinks that this is going to give everybody a reset in the group.
Yeah, she's going to kind of give everyone an opportunity to say what they regret saying about each other and hopefully move forward with a clean slate. And I think it's cute. And but I do think it's hilarious that this American citizenship storyline started with one line 2 weeks ago. And now I'm like, what? It feels like a huge deal. And we're all just sort of being like, now she's an American citizen. And also she's being prosecuted for grand theft. I'm like, there's so much going on. And we're really just turning it into a party. But okay, serve the hot dogs and keep it moving.
That lunch was so random. I do love, though, that in response to hearing about her party idea, he's like, well, that they hung the traitors at the end of that. It was like, bruh.
Oops.
Foreshadowing.
Uh-huh.
Oh, God. And then talk about a marriage with issues. Whitney and Justin.
Yeah, they have this very stilted, difficult conversation basically about the dissolution of Wild Rose Beauty. And along with that, the dissolution of Whitney's identity. She basically says, aside from the family and the kids, that was my whole life and it's gone. And she seems to resent him for taking over Wild Rose Beauty and claiming he could turn it into $1 billion business via MLM pyramid scheme. What am I supposed to say? Come on, Whitney. But I did appreciate her saying, basically, she had an encounter with someone from Sephora, which was the path she wanted to take the day before Justin and his team made a hard pitch for her to do direct marketing via multi-level marketing. And they enticed her with big numbers and she took the bait. But I appreciated her saying, she says, I admit I made a really bad decision. And concurrently, she's resenting Justin because it's the first time he really took interest or expressed real faith in her business acumen. And then he took it and ran it into the ground with apparently a dishonest organization. It was just a reminder to me, again, the lessons I learned from reality TV of trust my gut. I would rather make my mistake and have it fail on my terms than acquiesce to someone else who claims they have all the answers. But my gut is I'm not sure, because I've certainly done that enough times. And if it doesn't break my way, I would have rather failed my own way. It's just so painful to live in that kind of regret, resentment.
It's awful. It's awful. I thought that was the takeaway from this scene. She did not listen to her gut. So much that was just sad. And she wanted this business to take off so that he no longer would have to seek out careers in MLM. I don't know if anyone knows, but Justin has an extensive career history with multiple MLM companies, some of which have been sued. He has been sued. I know that it is a major industry in Utah with Mormons because they tend to have larger families and then larger networks. And there's things called through lines and down lines. And you need to have a big network of people in order to make an MLM successful. Lord knows there are myriad podcasts and documentaries about various MLMs. And I can't even imagine. I can't imagine being compelled by that type of work. It sounds just awful. So I don't know. It bummed me out, man. It bummed me out. And she shares with the producer that there has been a change in the dynamic of their marriage. Before, she was able to keep them separate. Now they're enmeshed and she doesn't know what she needs and she's just kind of there. And for all of the stuff we've seen from all these various marriages across every franchise, Justin and Whitney, like, yeah, there is the shadiness of the fact that they both come from MLMs. That doesn't ever sit well with me, but it sounds like Whitney has awareness of that now. But it did seem like they were partners, like they left. I mean, I know the way they started. We all know the way they started wasn't necessarily on the up and up, but they came clean with it. They did what they could to repair with their families and their communities. Justin, as we know, was fired from one of his recent MLM companies because of the episode where they were body painting each other, and that's not the way that this company wanted to be reflected. Like, oh, now we're going to take the moral high ground. Let's rip people off, but let's going to call it at that.
But in terms of the marriage, that is immediately what I thought of when she was like, I resent you because you took away my identity and the thing that I defined me most. And I was like, Whitney, you did the same thing to him, not with bad intentions. I don't think Justin had bad intentions. I think it just happened. He went through this, so he must know exactly how she's feeling. And now he gets to know how she felt. Like,
I mean, agreeing to do a sexually charged foreplay instance with your spouse on camera, to me seems different than I'm going to trust this with you. It's my name. It's my passion. And I don't know that he honestly thought that it was going to succeed like he thought. I don't know. I don't know who the investors were. I don't know, like, if he really believed it. Maybe they were both taken advantage of by.
It sounds like they both were fed a load of bullshit and they both bought it. Because I think that Whitney's right. I think she's most pissed off because this is the first time Justin took an interest and he was like, let's make it $1 billion business, baby. I have this path to that. So I think he got seduced by money. She got seduced by money and she trusted him to sniff out a bad scheme, but she had sniffed it out. She knew. And I also feel like it's that thing of like, not to get all woo-woo universe and all that shit, but like, sorry if you bump into the woman from Sephora the day before you're handed this thing that like stinks a little of too good to be true. It just feels like you were being nudged in a direction. And I totally understand why she's so pissed off.
Totally.
Because I'd be pissed off at myself too. And that would make me pissed off at everyone else,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think it's unfixable. I think if she can get her name and her product back, I bet she could reapproach those outlets. But it must be really frustrating.
Oh, God. I can't imagine.
And to be paying debts to people with nothing to show for it. It just is a total fucking loss on
and
every
to
front.
be like, to have the ick of MLM on you, that is going to be the hardest thing I think that she is going to face. I don't know anyone that looks on MLMs favorably. I don't. I mean, they had the stink of MLM on them before she launched this.
Yeah,
It
and I think
sucks.
she must be pissed because she was on the verge of differentiating herself, and
Yeah.
then she succumbed, and that it did not go great. And that,
Oh, God.
I get it. I felt for her. Then we go to this like hyper-produced, borderline scripted scene with Heather and her daughters. Heather and Georgia are dressing up. What's her other daughter's name? I forgot.
Annabelle.
Annabelle's bed in Tampa gear because that's where she's going to college. And it's so sad. Like Heather, she says, I had a monumental year. 2 big things happened. I bought an air fryer. Ha, 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 ha. And the last kid is leaving the nest. And I don't know. I felt nothing, I'll be honest. So the daughter comes in and weeps and pretends to be surprised and overjoyed, even though there's been a camera crew in there. She obviously knew this was. I just am like, you guys don't treat me like an idiot. I'm so annoyed. And then Heather pretends to weep with pride. And then we cut to her confessional where she's like, get these fucking kids out of here. I want my time and my energy to myself, which is a fine sentiment to have. But don't feed me this scene of like, haha, fun daughter time. You're sick of him. You hate him. You want him out. Like, I can't watch it. The sisters are really cute together, and I'm very glad they have each other to help process whatever feelings come up when they watch this, what will read to a kid as rejection. This girl is 17, and her mom's like, get the fuck out. I want my air fryer to myself.
Yeah, I felt let myself get like that. I got prickly and itchy when she was talking about it's a destination to the finish line to raise these kids, send them off to college, and then take a deep breath. And I was really leaning in towards judgment. And then I reminded myself that I was probably 20 years older than Heather when I had my kid. I lived with my parents. I think I went to college when I was 20. And so I was living with my mom. My parents had already split up by then, but I was basically at home until I was 20. And then I met my husband when I was 38. And I was 42 when I had Leo, 42 or 43. I don't remember, but I was 43, wasn't I? So like Heather and I had wildly different 20s, wildly different 30s, wildly different 40s. And we're having wildly different 50s for that matter. My kid's going to turn 10 in like 6 weeks, but I'm also not rushing to get him out of the house. And I'm already starting to panic, like, will he want to come home and spend the holidays with us? That's part of my motivation for being like the best person I can be, is because I want my kid in my life. I have a feeling, I don't get the sense, and I could be wrong, but I don't get the sense that Heather's kids aren't unaware of how she feels about them leaving. I wonder if the conversations that they've had as a family of 3 is around the fact that, because she says in her confessional, and she has said this since she was cast on this show, since we've seen her on this show, she felt alone in her marriage and she felt alone in parenting. I can completely see if Heather is as honest with her kids as what she shares in her books, as what she shares with us as a cast member. They probably know that it's not personal. It's just like, this was what I was expected to do. This is what I did. And I don't know. I get the sense that they understand it's not just like a cut and dry, like, get the fuck out, bye, I need to go bang everybody and be the only person in the house.
With my Wayfair furniture.
With my Wayfair furniture. Oh my God, fuck that ad last week, dude.
I think I'm just mad at Heather in general, because I'm like, last week she gave us an ad for Wayfair. This week she gives us like an air fryer joke. And I was like, you do nothing. And the end, she gives us like a little bit, but like, I feel her producing and manipulating me as a viewer, and I'm not here for it, because I got to know her as someone who was just like, I don't know, here's me, take it or leave it, guys. And now she's like, here's a version of me that I want you to see.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess
totally.
I understand everything that you're saying. And even if her kids understand where she's coming from, I don't know how else you interpret that, but like, I was a burden and I got to get out of here because my mom's sick of me. Like, I'm so sorry that your 20s were ruined and you felt lonely, and you're like, why is that their problem? Go to therapy. Like, that's so, I hate that they're leaving the nest with that on them. Like, my mom's relieved I'm leaving. Her tears of pride didn't feel like tears. It seemed fake. It just feels like she wants them out of there. I don't know. I'm personalizing it, obviously. It just didn't feel, if I were her kids, I love my mom and I wanted her to enjoy her life separate from me, but I didn't want to leave feeling like I'd burdened her by being there so long.
Yeah.
And my mom did say to me when I left for college, she's like, I'm ready for you to go. But we'd been fighting a lot at the end because I was ready to go. I was 18 and I thought I knew everything. Get me out of here, you old hag. You don't control me. Cut to me calling her 3 days a week. Like, what do I do? What's this? I don't know how to do,
Totally.
Like, and I don't want her kids to go to school and be like, I shouldn't call my mom because this is her time now. It's like, I don't know. I just felt for them. It's a really tender age, or at least it was for me. Maybe they're different kids and they have a better sense of themselves, but they were abandoned by their dad and their mom is like, get out. So that's kind of lonely to go to college across the country with a mom who's like, talk to you never.
Oh, God, it's so strange. And I had you heard of bed parties before this episode? Like, are they a thing, or is this a Mormon thing, a Mormon mom thing.
I don't know, but I worried for you because she said something about like moms are competitive about these things. And I was like, do parents have to deal with this now too?
I've never heard of this. I found it, I didn't understand that it was a bed party, like was a thing until the second time I watched it. I definitely clocked the mom judgment, but I also was like, oh, holy shit. Like this is insane. This is over the fucking top. I don't know. I'm not judging anybody who does bed parties for their kid. I've never heard of it. It seems like something that they would do in Utah. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. It seems like parents, I mean, I guess maybe that I can find some empathy for Heather there. Like parents these days have everything is a huge, like a gender reveal to a birth announcement, to a sip and see, it's just like constant parties and presentations and celebrations and posting. And I'm just like, can the mom and the kids just like be for a minute? Or I don't know. Like, yeah, that seemed, it made me feel stressed out and, you know.
Yeah, because it looked great to me. And then she's like, I don't know, moms might judge this. And I was like, holy shit. Yeah. It's like a metric ton of Mylar up in that bitch. And like, I don't know. It was
like promposals and stuff.
Yeah.
In my day, like some awkward kid approached you at a locker and was like, are you already going with someone or no?
Yeah.
You know, it was just real analog. Oh, God.
When the tooth fairy comes in our house, the tooth fairy leaves $5. Often when that is shared, it's like, oh, wow, the tooth fairy leaves a lot. I haven't had the tooth fairy visit me since it's been a long ass time. It's been over 40 years. I don't know. I just figured that the tooth fairy went through inflation and cost of living increases just like we all did. But when it's shared, how much the tooth fairy leaves, we're often met with, oh, and I'm like, God damn it. There's no fucking way to win as a parent, I don't think, with what you do.
There's not.
I honestly, the tooth fairy and I and my husband, we all just did our fucking best. We did our best.
Look, the tooth fairy has allocated a budget for an only child household. Do you know what I mean? Like there's not 15 kids with teeth, you know, there's one child. And so
there's one child.
A household budget for teeth and that can all go to this one child. And that seems
Had
fine.
no idea that there's no such thing as a tooth fairy cost of living or inflation. I don't know. I guess our tooth fairy is just a little bit more pragmatic or something. I have no idea, but it's something that I'm just like, can I live? Can the tooth fairy just live?
No,
can the tooth fairy fucking live?
It feels like everything is judged as extravagant or underwhelming.
Yeah.
It's like there is no target to hit. It's like you're just going to fail one way or the other, so live your life. You know what I mean? I don't understand how anyone is supposed to. I don't know what getting it right looks like. I think I never have. But it's getting more complicated.
It is, and it makes me resentful.
However, getting it right. So from that overproduced reality TV scene to this scene between Bronwyn and Muzzy that I swear to God is probably could only happen because of reality TV. It made me love the format even more. This incredibly heartfelt, I felt sincere exchange between Bronwyn and her mom that has probably never happened before and probably will never happen again. It opens with Bronwyn supporting the LGBTQIA community by sending pride flags to all non-government affiliated organizations so that they have the option of flying a pride flag, even though the Utah powers that be have decided that no government properties can do so, which is insane. And we find out that Muzzy's political views differ, but she's like happy to do what she says, something crazy with her daughter to help her out. And Muzzy says she no longer cares what people thinks of her. She's a grown-up now, finally at age 80. And Bronwyn says that she still cares what Muzzy thinks of her and sort of starts lightheartedly by saying the thing she was most disappointed in Bronwyn for, being pregnant out of wedlock, has now become the thing she's most proud of, which is Gwen. And then I don't even know if I'll get through this without crying because Muzzy very sincerely tells Bronwyn that she's doing a great job with Gwen and she should be really proud of what she's accomplished on all fronts. And Bronwyn breaks down in tears because I think she knows, unlike that prior scene, there's real sincerity in what Muzzy is expressing. And she says this sort of conversation was not modeled for her. Her parents, she said she understood that her parents loved her, but they always expected more. So she doesn't know how to say these things to Bronwyn, but she says it doesn't mean I don't think them and it doesn't mean I don't mean them. I thought that was real sweet.
It's the second mom on a Housewives franchise that I can remember just off the top of my head that have said this. Like, this is how I was parented, and you must know that I love you. This is Sutton's mom. This is Reba. Except for Muzzy is a lot warmer than Reba. God damn.
She's a lot harsher leading up to this. And then suddenly she like decided to let a wall down. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, like, well, don't you know I love you? Like, no, I don't. And I think it's ridiculous that this old school thinks, well, I am a parent, ergo, therefore, I love my child. It's like, no, Jesus, how many fucking unloved generations out there are there? It just sucks.
And
Sucks.
it's so, the solution is so simple and so immediately healing. Bronwyn says, like every kid, she's like, I just want to make you proud. I want to do something that you can be proud of. And Muzzy says, I am proud of you. And I was like, that's all it takes.
That's
A
it.
lesson
That's
to
it.
everybody on either side of this dynamic. All you have to say is, it would mean a lot to hear you say this. And if you can muster it, boomers, just say, I love you and I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really, really sweet. And Muzzy, even like in a moment of real unexpected self-reflection, she basically tells Bronwyn, like, I notice you breaking the cycle. Like, my parents withheld affection from me. I withheld affection from you. And I notice you telling Gwen all the time that she's the best and the smartest. And Bronwyn's like, I'm just doing it differently. And Muzzy says the withholding affection model didn't work for you. And so you're doing it different with your kid. And I was like, look at you noticing shit and seeing what a phenomenal outcome that change is having in your granddaughter. What a tender, evolved moment between a fucked up mother-daughter dynamic.
I'd like to see one instance that withholding affection does anything to foster a child's well-being or success in life in any way, shape, or form.
Or in adults, for that matter.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. It's false. And then she ends the scene by like lightly criticizing in a humorous way Bronwyn's spreadsheet with the addresses of where they're going to mail the flags.
Reset the toxic dynamic as quickly as possible. But I swear, again, this is why I love reality TV, because I do not believe there would be an occasion for such a conversation unless cameras were up and a scene had to be shot. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
Like, I don't know if Muzzy would go there if reality TV wasn't the vehicle. So
I see. Yeah. Yeah. That's a really good question. I don't know. But she does seem to have grown a little bit since that first time we saw her this season. So
yeah, truly.
Then we go to the high point. This scene next is the majority of the episode, the spill the tea party. And so all of these people have been invited to come to the spill the Boston Tea Party by Bronwyn. She's instructed them to dress like Hamilton, or that's how they interpreted it.
And come to a loading dock.
Come to a loading dock.
She didn't tell them anything else.
A warehouse. Angie shows up first. She's in her interpretation of Betsy Ross, her Betsy Ross cosplay. There's a car en route. It's Brittany, Whitney, and Heather. And Brittany fills Whitney and Heather in on how her conversation with Meredith went in the park during last week's episode, where Meredith, all she really did was apologize to Brittany for hurting her feelings.
If I hurt your feelings.
If I hurt your feelings.
Sorry about it.
Brittany is, I don't know really who Brittany is. Brittany tells her castmates that this was sufficient for her. Whitney is absolutely not having it. She is not okay with that. And she's not okay with the fact that Brittany is like, she's like, are you sad? Like, that's okay with you that she did that? And Brittany just wants to like, I just want to move on.
But she did say, I did appreciate Brittany saying, I don't want to harbor the anger. So I just accepted the lame apology. Because Brittany does seem to, she's like, it is insufficient, but like, what am I going to do? Fight someone who's never going to admit that she did these things? Because that's what the rest of this episode is everyone going like, but you did, but you did, but you did, but you did. And I think Brittany is just like, that's the best she's going to be able to do. And I don't want to be pissed off all the time. So
I wonder if being pissed off in a clean way would help her break her cycles, though. You know?
sure, it's not, certainly, yeah, there's a way that can tip into an unhealthy place. But
Yeah.
I do think when it comes to Meredith Marks, trying to get her to say what you want to hear from her is a dead end.
That is a very good point. She knows who she's dealing with. Okay, yeah. So maybe it wouldn't work with her. Okay. All right, that's fair.
I mean, we've already had 4 episodes of Meredith being like, no, that's not what happened. I was
Oh my
asleep the whole
God.
time. Actually,
This
I watched
season.
2 movies. Actually,
Yeah.
you yelled. Actually, it's like, oh my God, dude.
It's so awful. Ugh, Jesus Christ. So when the 3 of them arrive, they get out a flask and they take a shot with Betsy Ross Angie. Lisa and Meredith arrive. They are not in costume. I don't really know what Meredith is wearing at all. Actually, I couldn't stand either one of their outfits, like just objectively, party theme, no party theme. I don't know. Like both were nose from me dog. Bronwyn comes out to greet them, and she's in full regalia, as this is Bronwyn's brand. She loves a moment for a costume or a costume couture.
Dressed as a founding father, like in a
Yes.
gown with a wig and all the things.
And on the way to the tea party set, she has them take a founding father-esque wig from a wig table, a table of wigs. So they all have the little white George Washington hair. And she makes a really anemic comparison to taxation without representation, the whole impetus for the Boston Tea Party. She makes that comparison to how she and her castmates feel about being unheard in this group with each other. And everyone in the cast is looking at her like Angie was, it just was not computing. Like, I don't understand this comparison at all. I did feel like it was quite a reach. Taxation without representation compared to what we talk shit about each other. Oh, okay.
This whole opening had the whole time I was going like, huh? What? That followed by the menu, which was tea, crumpets, wine, whiskey, and hot dogs. And I was like, what is this event? I was so confused.
Yeah.
And then it becomes clear once everyone sits down and they play Spill the Boston Tea game. So everyone is to talk about something they have said about another person that they regret gossiping about, basically, just to get it on the table and say, I'm sorry for doing that, and hopefully move forward. I forget who starts by talking about Lisa. Oh, of course, it's Angie who mentions that Lisa does or does not own a horse, who she races or does not race. I'm unclear. She will or will not get a second one. I don't understand any of it, and I don't know why it matters, but it seemed very much to matter to Lisa because she had a lot to say and she was really defensive. And I was like, I don't know what the stakes are of you having or not having a horse.
Lisa's reaction, like when she was first sitting there listening, she's kind of like leaned back like, oh. And I was like, oh, what's happening here? And then saying, I didn't say that. And then we see a flashback like, sure enough, you did say what you said on the yacht. Yeah. And I mean, Angie's really dialed into the equestrian
Yes.
community because of her daughter, Electra. That is a fucking badass name, dude. Electra's a badass name.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, she's like, listen, I did talk shit about you and your horse and or non-existent horse and possibly second non-existent horse. And sorry about that.
And then Brittany asks who spilled the tea about her flirting with Joao.
Totally ignoring the premise of the game.
I don't think she got it. I don't know what's going on. And then we find out that Justin had sat down with Jared and Whitney had told Justin that Brittany was flirting it up on the yacht. And anyways, it's a big, as you would say, nothing burger. There's nothing here, nothing. She didn't kiss Joao. She flirted with him. Nothing's the matter. Who cares?
If I was on a yacht with my girlfriends and I picked up the phone to send voice to text message to my husband to update him on what's going on, if Josh had read, oh my God, you'd be so happy to learn that Brittany is getting her flirt on with these crew guys, he would have been like, new phone, who's this? Like, why are you bugging the shit out of me with this crap?
And she's so clearly wasted in her, the language she's using. It's like, I don't think Justin was really that.
Oh my God, no.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
what are you
not
doing?
breaking news. Who cares?
So everyone's just like, including me and probably you. No one wants to hear about Jared. Everyone's just like, we don't want to hear about Jared, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And the fact that they were actually together and then broke up over this, I thought that she was on the break.
Their relationship is so insanely toxic, and it just shows
so
how
gross.
tenuous it is and how invested, how much the relationship relies on fighting and breaking up and getting back together. I don't think there is a relationship unless there's that constant terror that it's going to end, it ends, terror that it's never going to come back together, it comes back together, terror that it's going to end. It's just like, ugh.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted, as is everyone else.
I am too. Then it's Heather's turn, and she
gives us nothing.
She wants to talk to Bronwyn. She wants to address Bronwyn specifically about the rumor about Todd making out with someone while farting, the rumor that Lisa brought up on the yacht. And isn't it absurd? And Bronwyn is just like, dude, I'm not talking about this anymore. It's not funny to me. It might sound absurd. I mean, it is. Like, if you string those words together, Todd was making out with someone while farting. It is absurd as hell.
But it's Bronwyn's husband, and it probably happened. So, like, honestly, Heather, and that's not what's on your mind. As we see as the scene progresses, you get really emotional about something else. So stop doing this, like, sitcom comedy shit. If she and Heather, what's her face? Dubrow should just, like, go somewhere and do a sitcom together, because like I'm sick of just being fed what they think is haha funny, and like I find it completely disingenuous and lame and a waste of my time. Anyways, Heather apologizes for upsetting Bronwyn, and Mary praises her for apologizing in the moment, and nobody takes note, and so the rest of the scene progresses terribly.
Oh my God. So then Bronwyn brings up her tea that she has spilled, and she tells Whitney, I'm sorry, after you and I went to lunch and you filled me in on what happened with the plane, that I went and told Meredith what you said. And Whitney tells her exactly what I thought, that Whitney's like, listen, I thought I was confiding in you. I did not look at this as spilling tea. Basically, I was like trying to verbally process the shit that went down on this plane that had me questioning everything. And I thought Bronwyn was like really out of fucking line. And we see her behavior. It did not look like she was like, you're talking shit about one of my best friends or someone that I'm really close with, and I'm very offended by what you're telling me right now. Why don't you go tell Meredith? She was giving the exact opposite energy when they were having that lunch together. I would have also felt, if I were Whitney, I would have felt like I was confiding in a friend and trying to figure out what the fuck happened. I don't see Whitney as someone who would have not talked about it with Meredith at some time. But like she says, you wanted me to talk to Meredith, a belligerent person on a plane 2 days after we land? Yeah, I think it's very reasonable for Whitney to wait longer. Bronwyn disappointed me with this one.
Except that this is the problem with this whole like very high concept convoluted. If the concept is we say out loud the things that we regret doing, then Bronwyn is right to regret this interaction with Whitney, leading her on and giggling in the moment, and then taking this to Meredith. Because it's true. In the end, this should have been something handled only between Meredith and Whitney. But anyways, it just got lost in the sauce, as they say. It just was like a big mess, because in theory, she's apologizing for it, but Whitney was defensive and Bronwyn didn't talk her down. So it just was like, I don't know. And then it just erupts, because Meredith, then again, if you're trying not to be like a defensive addict, don't jump in and call someone a liar the second your name is brought up in conversation with regard to bad behavior, drugs, and alcohol. So Meredith calls Whitney a liar, and then Whitney reiterates there were a bunch of other witnesses to the 6 hours of bullying that you did of Brittany on a flight. And Whitney takes major offense to being called a liar and notes rightly that Meredith throws that word around freely when she's feeling like she's put on the defense. Whitney says back to Meredith, "You want to call me a liar? Okay, let's go there. Alcoholic, pill popper." And I was like, oh no, this is taking a hard turn.
It is taking a hard turn, and it's taking the exact turn that people that have grown up in
Alcoholic households.
alcoholic or substance abuse disorder households, that's part of it. At some point, you're just going to be like, okay, all right, well, here you go. And then you lob the low blow.
Or you lob the truth, because I related
Yes.
very much to being tired of like, stop turning this on me.
Yeah,
I am
dude.
not doing anything wrong. Stop claiming I'm someone I'm not. Stop telling me that falsehoods are true. We both know the truth here. The simple truth is you are A, and then you say it, and then as we see, all hell breaks loose. Meredith, again, whether or not she has a problem, she is following the behavior trajectory of someone who does by this dramatic, histrionic presentation of gifts to everybody that comes with an ice pack. And it winds up being urine test cups for drug tests. And she says, if you make an accusation against me for substance abuse, will you take a test? And I'm like, that is the logic of a drunk pill popper, because that makes no sense. You're not accusing these people of being so drunk that they misinterpreted your behavior. Now you're just being crazy and saying, nuh-uh, you are, with no foundation or reason. And that's where I started to feel, again, family Thanksgiving vibes of Thanksgiving's past of like, what the fuck is happening? Everyone is off the rails. We've all lost the thread. And that's where Whitney says that substance abuse is a very serious subject to her, because her dad, as we know, is an active addict, and he's been missing from her life for years after he made appearances on screen in the first season. And Whitney then says that line that we talked about earlier, "I just wish Meredith understood why I care about her." Sadly, this is where that piece of communication gets lost of like, it's because the Al-Anon cares about the alcoholic that they're saying these things, but the alcoholic interprets it only as offense, affront, condemnation. And it's like, you're missing the whole fucking point, dude.
Totally.
I'm fucking worried and I love you.
Mhm.
God damn it. But then you get handed a drug test and it's like, fuck you. I don't know this is crazy.
And that's like such the part of it. That's such the part of being in that close dynamic with someone who is actively using, is now we refer to it as being gaslit, or someone is gaslighting you. What I referred to it as, I'm in the fucking twilight zone right now. I know what happened. I know the sky is blue. I know the grass is green. I know up is that way. I know down is this way. I know about gravity. But the addict is like, nope, the ground is that. The ground is here. That's not gravity. You're crazy. And then you're like, oh God, you know?
The worst part is that, like, for me, at least in those interactions, I know that they know the truth.
Yeah.
You know you were in the drunk tank last night. Don't tell me I'm crazy and I didn't get enough sleep. And I know you were. I answered the phone. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, don't do this. And Meredith, you know, again, my qualifier is also a lawyer. And so there's that very calm demeanor they take on. Like, no, you're wrong. You take a drug test. You're all liars. And it's just like, Jesus Christ, I'm trying to tell you I love you and I'm scared for your life. And you're pointing fingers at me and going like, you're psycho. You're an idiot. You got it wrong, dumbass. And it's like, what? She's so mean.
She is. And it's just not charming anymore.
It's scary. It is what Mary said. It's like her characterization of that flight is so far off that Mary says it almost seems like she wasn't there. And she
Dude.
fucking wasn't. Her brain was altered. Her chemicals were not stable. And I don't know if she knows how much she remembers and how much she doesn't. But I know she knows enough to know she fucked up real bad. And I think it's a little scary to be like, what exactly did I do? Because I know it was bad, but I can't remember all of it.
Oh my
That's what I
God.
would do. But I'm not trying to hide anything. So I'm different.
Yeah. Yeah. So Heather tells Meredith, on the plane, you told me if you're friends with Brittany, Heather, you are not friends with me. Meredith denies this. And so Heather says, Lisa, back me up. You heard this. Lisa says, I wasn't there for that. And Heather tells her, dude, like when we had our lunch at Valter's, which is the episode they aired over Thanksgiving week that you and I didn't cover, all of them go to lunch at Valter's after Mary's church service. And this is where we see footage of Lisa saying at that lunch, yes, Meredith said that. Meredith said that if you're friends with Brittany, then you're not going to be friends with me. Meredith denies saying that as well, that she told Heather that. And Whitney says that the fact that Meredith has brought in these drug tests for us to take is fucking projection. Absolutely. And Meredith then accuses Whitney and Heather of lying about what went down in the plane. And Heather is so upset because Meredith is calling her a liar. She says that Meredith is gaslighting her and she's the one who's lying. And Heather then tells us in her confessional, it's about her Mormon trauma. She was being told that the church she was leaving was not the way it was, which was making her leave. She was told, no, you don't know what you're talking about. The church was not this. And I can't imagine what it's like I can. I can't imagine what it's like. I know what it's like. And what my experience looks like with that is like trying to convince other family members, extended family members. I know the relationship I have with my qualifier, and you're telling me that that shit isn't happening, or that shit isn't that bad, or that I shouldn't be acting the way I am or feeling the way I am. And you're just like, are you kidding? What is happening? It's very interesting. Whitney fully knows where her trauma comes from. Heather fully knows where her trauma comes from. They can identify its origin or one of its origins, and
Lisa, I thought, did like one of the grossest things is she claims Whitney is weaponizing her experience with addicts. And I'm like, that is not a thing. You cannot weaponize your experience. It is your experience. Whitney is saying, I recognize in you traits that concern me and other people I love. It's the same thing Mary did when she sat down with Meredith at lunch. And Meredith was like, no, I didn't do any of that. And Mary was like whispering like, yes, you did. Like she was so concerned. And Heather even gives Meredith the language to come clean. She says, I need you to say, I acted horribly and I'm so sorry for that behavior. It was completely out of line or something to that effect. And Meredith is like, Mom, we're not going to resolve anything tonight. And I'm just like, oh my God, and again, I'm like getting nauseous just thinking about it because it's like there's such, is it pride or I don't know what it is in an addict that like, why won't you just say that? You could end all of this right now forever if you just said, you know what? I'm embarrassed and that's why I've been denying this. You're right. I was so out of line. I lost my shit and I here are the things I'm doing to make sure to the best of my ability I don't repeat that kind of behavior. I'm so sorry. But instead, no, we're not going to solve anything tonight. And it's like handing out drug tests with ice packs. It's like this woman is like, I don't know a bigger like sign of an alcoholic than every single action Meredith took at this party. It is not my job or my position to diagnose, but like, whoa.
Ego, self-preservation, ego. I don't know one addict who isn't really hyper concerned with how they're being perceived at all times.
Totally.
And their image
myself included
has been like completely curated in order to keep that veneer, probably for themselves more than anybody else. If I can just keep everybody else thinking that I've got it all figured out, I'm fine. She has jack shit figured out and she does not want anyone to know it.
And it's falling apart.
It is falling apart. We're watching her.
Yeah.
It's wild.
And God bless Mary, our comic relief, saying, is anyone else wearing a girdle besides me? Because it's cutting into my ribs. I love Mary because she really is just forever in the moment. It's like, oh, I'm concerned about what's going on over there. Hey, my rib hurts. Is anyone else wearing a girdle? It's like she's just so very present in time and space that it's only what's affecting her at any given moment that registers. And I kind of enjoy that.
So Bronwyn has a dress reveal, and the dress she's wearing under her founding father's robe or whatever is this nice, big, voluminous black dress with a very ornate scroll of the Constitution. And On it, it has all the amendments. And so she said, again, making another anemic comparison, that what we're going to do is we're going to make friendship amendments about how they are going to behave in this group moving forward. They begin all of these with hear ye, hear ye. So Bronwyn's first amendment is hear ye, families are off limits. And I was like, listen, you're a housewife. I can also see that. In my opinion, Emily Simpson's child, Luke, off fucking limits. Unless she is really, 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 really has done like a lot of work around ableism and bringing visibility versus what she did last season on Orange County, which was utter
exploitation.
It was criminal. So I don't know. How do we reconcile that? How do we reconcile with families being off limits when you're also a housewife?
Well, I mean, I think they're mostly talking about like, don't gossip about, is it Whitney who says it? Like a husband, partners, jobs, and children. It's like, just don't bring it into conversation. If they're on camera and you cross paths with them and a scene happens in real time, fine. But otherwise, just save it because it's so damaging.
Heather is hear ye, be a woman of your word. Lisa, hear ye, be a friend you want others to be. Like, again.
Yikes.
Dude, if you're a friend, let me never have a friend, Lisa. I'd rather have 0.0 friends than have a friend like Lisa Barlow. Yeah, projection. Mary, it's not only enough, hear ye, let's not just hear each other, let's also forgive. Okay. Whitney, yes, businesses, marriages, and children are off limits. Angie, be careful to say things without documentation.
Very practical housewife advice.
Like, exactly. Like,
yeah.
I'm going to talk shit, but I'm going to have the facts to back it up.
I'm going to put it in text.
Exactly. And Brittany says, hear ye, may we always see the best in people. God damn, dude. She's going to go down with that Disney princess image if it kills her, which it one could argue that it is,
And then Meredith closes us out with stop the reactive abuse.
Dude.
That's all I have to say. And everyone is like, oh my God. And then we cut to Whitney's confessional where she defines reactive abuse, which is responding with physical or emotional or verbal violence to being confronted. And Whitney tells us that defines Meredith's behavior. Thank you for defining your own characteristic.
The best I could find online, because I did Google it, like I Googled reactive abuse PubMed, because I'm like all about like living and dying by PubMed or Google Scholar. And even then, I always look to see who sponsored the study, who funded the study.
What's PubMed?
PubMed is like the National Institute of Health. Like it's the website that has all of the scientific studies.
Love it.
Yeah, I don't buy collagen fucking supplements and shit like that. I don't do any of that shit without looking
Unless they want to sponsor us.
The science. Yes. I look it up and then I also see like who bankrolled the study, Anyway, I couldn't find anything. I also didn't have that much time to look into it. But on Better Health's website, they defined reactive abuse as it occurs when someone who has endured repeated mistreatment reaches a breaking point. Usually in a heated moment, they may lash out in order to protect themselves from continued harm. Holy shit, Meredith.
Well, and oops, Meredith, because if you're accusing people of having reactive abuse, that means you've abused them to the point where they've broken.
And this is not the first time that Meredith has taken a term from the mental health space.
I'm disengaging.
Right. She just kind of like warps it for convenience and it sounds like it fits, but it's really, she doesn't understand. I don't find it charming or cute or anything but gross and embarrassing. Like it's embarrassing, dude. It's embarrassing. But whatever. It all makes me more grateful for my own life and not want to trade places.
Yeah. And again, the cautionary tale of like, for me to like stay in therapy, keep working on yourself, because it's so ugly to watch a grown woman just blame other people and take no accountability for her own shortcomings, which we all have. We're only human. Sorry about it.
Yeah.
But this was just such an ugly scene. And then it ends on an unsatisfying fart note. I can't believe that I wasn't delighted by this. Mary says farty can only go so far and then it's no longer funny. And Heather says, agreed, Mary, queen of gas. And in another context, it would have made me laugh. But again, Heather is writing this sitcom and I'm not enjoying it.
Yeah.
This is how powerful an addict is in a space, is it can ruin a fart joke. That's how dark their presence can be. Takes the shine off a fart joke. And next week, it looks like more of the same.
Oh, I already can't remember what the scenes are for next week.
No, I'm forgetting too. But there was...
Oh, they go to Greece next week,
That's
don't they?
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, no. And next week is just Lisa and Angie K having a fight about who has more BMWs.
Oh, God, more Porsches. That's
More
right.
Porsches, sorry. Excuse me, how gauche.
Oh, my God, dude. Yeah. Seriously. Ew. Oh, friend, what else did you watch?
Let's see, what else did I watch? Oh, I kept up with all the Bravo shows. I'm not caught up on Potomac, but I watched the most recent episode and it was fine. I was entertained. And then I just watched a ton of football and college football. Michigan's big game with this weekend, and we didn't win, but we have an 18-year-old quarterback. We have a very promising outlook for the future. And to see an 18-year-old, this is the game, Michigan, Ohio State. And to watch that kid, get on the field, look confident. He did a great job, even though we lost. And certainly the second half was gnarly. But I can't imagine the pressure of that moment for an 18-year-old.
Oh my
It just
God.
is so intense.
No, I
But
can't either.
he's played great this season. And if he stays at Michigan, which I really hope he does, we hopefully will have a good team down the line. Anyways, what did you watch?
I also watched Potomac, and I can't believe I'm going to say these words out loud. I started watching Gossip Girl for the first time ever. It's because my sister and my niece have been watching it together. My niece is 16. And so they like to find things to watch together. So when I was up in Portland for Thanksgiving, they're like, you want to watch with us? I'm like, fuck yeah, I do. I'll watch whatever they watch. I just want to be with them. They're on season 5, or they just ended season 5. So they're starting the last season now, season 6. It did not take me long to catch on, obviously. So I started with season 1. It's so campy and so terrible, and also such a time capsule, and exactly what I need from TV recently. I don't need to go on some wild, deep emotional ride. It's so interesting to see the origin story of these people's careers. I remember reading Us Weekly at the nail place, when we still read Us Weekly in paper form, and being like, who the hell is Taylor Momsen? Who's Ed Westwick, whatever the fuck his name is? And I'm like, oh, this is where everyone came from. This is where Joe Goldberg came from. And I can't believe the music budget that show had. I cannot believe that they were playing Justin Timberlake songs in the very first episode. I was like, holy shit. It's such a crazy show. So I'm watching fucking Gossip Girl.
I love it. XOXO.
Yeah, XOXO, Gossip Girl, yeah.
Are you going to keep up with it even though you're no longer?
Why not?
Sure.
I'd like to have it on the background. I can do my New York Times games and not have to worry about missing something. So it's absolutely fine. It's so weird seeing people that are supposed to play parents that are maybe 10 years older than the person they're supposed to be parenting. I'm like, what the fuck, Hollywood?
It is crazy.
Dude, yeah. And I can't believe that show came out almost 20 years ago. It came out in 2007.
Well, that takes away my point. I was just about
Yeah.
to say, I can't tell if that's a function of young people getting lip injections, Stranger Things 11 suddenly has big full lips.
Mm-hmm.
But no, that was not a thing back then. So it really is just a casting thing of yep, you're going to.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you're over 35. Great. You play a mom to a 16-year-old.
Yes.
Anyway, so, and I'm like, they're just doing the rated PG version of Bret Easton Ellis with way less dark. This is a much more accessible type of, you're not going to need to have a Silkwood shower after watching Gossip Girl like you are after reading a Bret Easton Ellis books about privileged teens. So that's what I watched. Yeah. What was your
That's
antidepressant?
awesome. My antidepressant was, so although I wasn't physically with my family. Over Thanksgiving, I was in contact with them, and it made me think a lot about my mom's dad, my granddaddy, who had lots of like great Irish sayings, but one of the simplest ones was "Don't lose your sense of humor." And I'm really like proud of my family for being able to weather a lot of really weird shit with a great sense of humor. So my sister and I were dealing with some stuff having to do with our 85-year-old dad's health, and someone in his life is very rude and weird for sport with us, it feels like. And she was giving us messages about him that were like riddles or patently false. And like, it should have been just utterly irritating and upsetting. But with each message that came in, my sister and I would call each other and we would have like a laugh, laugh really hard at how like stupid and nuts our family is and how this person seems to be ramping up her crazy the higher the stakes get. Like most things in our family, it's like not funny at all to anyone else, but like that is what is so glorious about a family of origin. It's like there's someone to call and find these circumstances utterly hilarious with, and also do the work necessary to make sure everything was taken care of. But like it was just kind of a weird and lovely way to be connected with my sister over this holiday season. And I love seeing it in the next generation too. Like her kids are siblings in that way too. Like they share a sense of humor about, they're all hilarious, but you know, specifically with each other, they can turn to things that other people would like clutch their pearls or gasp or light their hair on fire and run away. But to them, it's just like, this is our life and we have to find what's funny about it because that makes surviving it fun, tolerable, all of the above. Anyway.
Totally. Yeah.
That's it. That's a generational sense of humor is my antidepressant.
Totally.
Really grateful that is innate in all of us. How about you? What was your antidepressant?
Yeah, being with my family at Thanksgiving. It was lovely. I've started decorating for Christmas, and so now every time I walk into the living room or the kitchen, I'm like, oh, yay. And I think I probably owe both of those things to, I think on our last episode, I shared that I was going to be doing some plant medicine that weekend, so the weekend before Thanksgiving, and I did, and it didn't look like I thought it was going to. I actually didn't know what it was going to look like. I had no idea. I wasn't trying to figure it out. You know, the two others I've worked with have given me enough like faith in these things to not question shit. Whatever happens before, during, and after is exactly what is supposed to be happening. I was not prepared for how hard that day was going to be emotionally. I was not prepared for how seemingly easy it was going to be to reframe thought patterns that I've had for 40, 50 years. I really didn't. It was a wildly transformative experience. And yet, this morning, I was reminded that I can become unmoored and obsess about someone at the fucking drop-off line at school. He got annoyed with me because I pulled out first. And I was like, bitch, I didn't know you wanted to fucking pull out. And it triggered, like, it was a man and like frustrated gesture. And I'm just like, bitch, you didn't have a fucking blinker on. And so I started like, I just got real hooked into it. Like, oh, I'm going to say this and I'm going to do that. And I'm like, Ramona, this person, their kid goes to the same school as you. Like, but it's like, I can't let it go. And it's almost time for me to pick my kid up from school now. And so I've just been like thinking all day, like, God damn it, it went away. That pink cloud went away. And I've just been annoyed by it all day. And I'm like, God damn it. I just had to pick up my fucking journal. Because listen, the medicines themselves are not the panacea. It's what I do with what they teach me before, during, and after. That's my job. My job is to take care of my side of the street. And nobody can take away my serenity unless I let them. And this dude who got pissed off at me, it triggers like a lot, like, oh, I am such a fucking good driver. And if a man deigns to like insult my driving, it's worse than just like a woman like getting pissed off about my driving. Because women are constantly thrown under the bus for their fucking driving. My point is, not perfect yet.
No, I mean, isn't the idea to like you leave with the teaching and then you practice.
Yeah, I have
which
to
is
practice.
so fucking annoying, which is why some people just stay high all the
That's
time.
exactly
'Cause
right.
What a great place to be, as opposed to having to like learn something and then slowly incorporate it into your life. It's so annoying.
Yeah.
And I'm with you. Like, for me, I react when people think the worst of me.
Yeah.
Like, whenever that shit happens to me, I'm like, oh, you think that I was like waiting here to time this
Yes.
perfectly so I could ruin your day? Fuck you, dude. I just pulled out and you wanted to pull out at the same time. Sorry about it. This is life. Like, I totally understand how I flip into that headspace, and it's so, oh my God, it's such a dirty diaper. It's just warm and cozy and comfy
It
and
is.
stinky.
It's just so like, I'm like, oh, okay. You're mad at me because you didn't put your blinker on and then look over your shoulder to see if somebody was already pulling out, which is what I did because I always use my fucking blinker, Mr. Man. Anyway, so it's just more information to work with. TLDR, psilocybin is pretty fucking amazing, and I can't wait to do more of it. I was not expecting it, and it kicked my ass emotionally, which is exactly what I needed. So, yeah. And I felt very much the antidepressant effects, or that's the effect it had on me until this morning when my serenity was undone by a man in a white Tesla.
Temporarily. This too shall pass. This too shall pass.
Yes, you're right. This too shall pass. Oh, God. But I do feel better after we've recorded.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss this. I always miss it. Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you, everybody, for listening. And take good care of yourselves.
Take good care of yourselves. Beverly Hills starts tomorrow, which is December 4. We're recording this on December 3. Maybe we'll talk about that too. It would be great. But happy Beverly Hills viewing night to all who celebrate. You know, Rachel Zoe.
I've yet to watch the new Vanderpump Rules. Traders is
me
about
too.
to start. Everything is Bravo's just raining down content. Bravo and Peacock.
Are you going to watch Vanderpump Rules, the new one?
Of course I am.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to.
I mean, I don't know if I'll commit, but I'm certainly going to. Who am I kidding? Yeah, of course I am.
Yeah. It's just, oh, God. I just, like, they're so all in on it now.
But it's like everything with reality TV. Every first episode and even first season is everybody presenting and trying and performing and doing what they think is going to make them famous and amazing. And then life comes crashing down on them, and like they get a DUI or a parent dies or something. You know what I mean? And then people become who they are. So I don't expect it to be anything but a bunch of LA waiters performing for me, but I'm curious to see who they want to present themselves as, and then I'll see them 6 months later and see who they really are. You know?
Yeah.
It's a long con, you know. You got to play the long
That's such a
game
great
with
way
this shit now.
Oh God, Lisa Vanderpump though, I've really enjoyed life without her.
I know, she's terribly annoying. It will be awful. The first few episodes will be awful, but I'm here for it because that's how I get to compare them to who they really are when that inevitably is revealed. So
I see that.
I will
see
put
that.
in my time with these dum-dums up front because I'm super curious.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Take good care of yourselves. I don't even know what to say anymore. I don't know what to say.
We'll talk next week.
Yeah, we'll talk next week. All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Ramona and Margie are obviously not doctors and do not provide medical advice. Their content is intended to be used for entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to be, should not be interpreted as, or used as a substitute for medical advice or a diagnosis of any health or fitness problem, condition, or disease, nor a recommendation for a specific test, doctor, care provider, procedure, treatment plan, product, or course of action.
My mom isn't a doctor.